there anything more we can say of that, or has he just been okay?
What, in terms of Cray?
Yeah.
About his
You just
consistency?
like, oh,
no,
he's
yeah.
been okay though.
I probably should have. I meant like he's been consistently good. That's what I should have said.
I get your point. It was just a little funny offhand comment to break us into our pistol round. Of course, here we are. This is a really weird situation. I don't actually know what's happening right now. It looks like Pickles is just killing some people. I don't really know kind of what happened at the start of this round to get us this far, because they're all kind of doing their own thing. So are we like... I don't know, man. This is a weird round. Like, what's happened? Vexed were like doing some stuff in CTE. They've fallen back now. They're really kind of hesitant to actually take many duels. We saw a really weird fight towards the bottom of Banana, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, now Vexed are just taking a gamble over towards B, which probably isn't such a bad idea, and it might work out for them here. The interesting thing is, I don't know how easy it is to hold this crossfire, having a man in towards CT and in towards the Coffin's position. So having two players here is good, but let's see how it works, because Fry does get that quick kill. Pickles was there for the trade, though. He's already up to 3 on the round, and he's going to look for a bit more. Push comes in, but Astro just about survives on 12 HP. That brings us back to a 2v2 post-plant. There was a kit dropped. That makes it a little more easy for Vexed, but it's not been recovered just yet.
This is the rounds, though, where Sam really plays at his best. He loves these sort of 2v2 clutches. Being low HP kind of really gets him to thrive. Unfortunately, he's just going to get double peaked. So, you know what? Screw it. Why not? Let's not talk about that. Instead, let's look at Cray. The man of consistency, unfortunately, is going to come to his end. Truth shutting him down with a simple headshot means it will be Vexed taking the first round in this game.
Yeah, Pickles gets a triple in the end, as we were talking about over towards B. And other than that, Vex just closed it out in the 2v2 quite well. They spotted the low health player first. It did seem like maybe Cray could have peeked out a little bit sooner to try and get the trade, I guess. However, to be honest, he needs to get both kills there. That's always going to be difficult. Nonetheless, into the second round, it's a hard eco for Wind and Rain. Frey picks up the 1 P250, but other than that, nothing to be seen for the T side. So they will get that bye into the third round, which I'm sure will be interesting. I mean, just in terms of having a high-octane, action-packed start to this game, but not in this round.
For sure. I think this is going to be a really interesting opportunity just to talk about the Wind and Rain roster a little bit more, because one of the things that really sticks out to me was just the fact that Astro, Link, and Dances did all want to play with each other, and they wanted to play with each other for a while. Obviously, that dates back to almost the CX days when they even tried to go ahead and make a change. Things got a little bit kind of hairy within that scenario, but I mean, this has been a roster in the making, I feel like, for a little while. You know, Astro made his intentions fairly clear during the CX days that he wanted to see kind of what Dances could do, and I knew that he could perform at the end of the day. It's why we saw Dances even as a substitute player for that team for a little while. So I think that this roster, you know, being built up over time, getting to this point now where they're actually playing together and they're getting results too. Bear in mind, you know, you have to look at their results across stuff like MDL, taking down Gambit. You know, that's already a pretty... I'm talking about that as if that's a tiny result, but that's actually pretty huge. But yeah, overall, I think this is a really interesting roster to keep an eye on, just because you've got a core of 3 players that kind of really enjoy just playing with each other and have that kind of synergy with each other. You've got 2 additional very talented players. It's something always to watch. I mean, right now they've stormed on towards the B site. They've actually got a plant. So this round, which should have been off the table, actually might be, to a certain extent, possible. I mean, it is just Glocks and they were nothing behind them. So we should really be seeing the likes of Quick just collapse onto the site and shut them down. But you know what? Wind and Rain, anything is possible.
How did Wind and Rain get the 2 kills there and not recover the guns? That's so strange. Either way, the kill's coming in. The retake looks easy. Frey, the only man left, is towards Banana. Could get a kill, but the dink is not enough. Truth going to finish him off. I guess Wind and Rain just didn't realize they had enough time to recover the guns. They were dropped in somewhat awkward positions, but, I mean, you're stuck with Glocks. It's probably worth the risk at that point. Having said that, considering the round they had, getting the plant is more than enough, and that leads to a very strong buy for them now.
Yeah, I always feel like in those sort of rounds, getting a plant is your win condition, right? Unlike winning the round would usually be just kind of, you know, clues in the name, you're the way to win. In those rounds, the bomb plant really is kind of exactly what you're looking for, because it helps you bring this out, this full arsenal of weaponry. I mean, you've got AKs for days, you've got all the utility, the flashes, all the trimmings, everything is there for Wind and Rain. They have all the tools. But let's see what they can do with them as they already begin to advance their way up through Banana. It's a few nades to come out for Fry. Thankfully, so far forward that they will not affect him. He pierces through the Banana defenses, takes down Ozzy, but then hungry for more, gets himself up on top of these sandbags and uses it as just a bit of a focal point to look in towards CT, see if he could pick off a second player if any repeat did come through.
Yeah, and when Fry shows up for Wind and Rain, that can really push them over the edge in terms of firepower, especially at this level. So nice to see him get that initial entry. Now we're just going to see Wind and Rain slow things down after finding the opening pick. They realize they don't have to really make any proactive plays just yet. It's actually Vanity who's gone aggressive out towards Banana. Despite not peeking in towards this position, despite not really getting too much information, they are going to go for the gamble towards the A site with him solo holding B. And that means they're going to have 3 players holding off towards A here, so this looks decent for Vexed.
Keep your eyes drawn towards apartments, though. That's where things really begin to heat up for this D side. If they can catch them by surprise, get this entry on towards short, all the pieces are in play. I mean, all these kills are just crumbling into the laps of Wind and Rain. This is beautiful. I mean, everything has gone your way. Every kill is perfection. Vexed, your only response is to leave Vanity, the young gun on the team, to run away.
Yeah, losing that first fight was a massive loss there. The player boosted on towards short, probably should have got 1 kill. And as soon as you lose that, it really does start to collapse. As you said, they had a good setup on Wind and Rain just to make sure they could push through from multiple positions. And especially when you don't have that control in towards short, there's not too much you can do. And that's proven. Wind and Rain will get their first round on the board. And even though we didn't necessarily do predictions or anything, I'd say Wind and Rain probably slight favourites heading into this one, just on recent form, etc. And even though they go down 2-0 early, they prove that they are certainly going to compete. They come straight back at Vexed, and Vexed now in a position where, I mean, 1 eco should be enough for a decent buy, but their losing bonus isn't great. They can't feel great about it, and you can see they're going to go for the Force, but this isn't great either.
This is definitely them trying to piece something together. I'm not quite sure what I'd call it, because, I mean, it's some SMGs here and there. There's some, you know, UMPs thrown into the mix. You got the CZs. So it's certainly something. I'm just not quite sure what it's really going to do. I mean, my biggest concern is just the lack of utility. I mean, all of those smokes, that 1 flash you've got is probably going to be ground out relatively early. I mean, we've already seen Truth use anything that he had. We've already seen pretty much everything outside of the 1 flash that remains on Aussie be thrown. So it literally is just going to leave them with this very minimal setup to hold on towards, what, B site, I guess? That's really is going to be where you're stacking all your forces towards. Meanwhile, Wind and Rain, they're just prodding out towards A, which puts you in even worse of a situation.
Yeah, I guess if Wind and Rain do go for the A push, you can just save all the guns. I mean, you've only got a CZ and Pickles holding on towards A, so that's not a massive loss. But at the same time, it still doesn't feel great for Vex to just have that heading into the next round. I mean, either way, we're going to have to see how this one plays out. That's the most important thing. But you wouldn't expect Pickles to be able to do too much in towards Pit here. You can see, though, on the map, Truth is slightly ready to rotate over. However, with how passively Pickles is playing, he's not going to get the information quickly enough to call for that rotate. So that doesn't seem too likely. But now with the nades coming in, he is rotating over. So he may get the flank in time, but it's still going to be Pickles who has to hold them off. Truth, though, thinking of going through the smoke. 25 seconds now. The time is becoming a factor, but Pickles gets the 1 kill. Ooh, Truth also finds one. So the CZs do some damage, but the one goes down fairly convincingly.
This round needed to be a brawl, though, to the clock, really. A race against time to deny the plant. Now the bomb is ticking on away. The going really begins to get just tougher and tougher for this CT side. They might have an advantage, but actually getting on that site and surviving are 2 very, very different things entirely. They're going to make their push. Link is there ready and awaiting. It just destroys them as they come on through. Crave with 2 kills is beautiful, leaving just Vanity up against Astro, who gets a drive-by headshot to push this one over the line.
They just about hold on to the trades there. And, I mean, you can see, even though Vex take that round close, then they're not going to have a great buy here. They're going to have to just go for pistols this time around. So even though it comes close for Wind and Rain, just getting the round win is enough to force their opposition back to a low buy. And now this is a chance to build up even more money. They already have a little bit of cash in the bank, and this should be an opportunity to extend that further. So that's certainly strong for them. You can see Vexed, again, going for a very similar setup this time around. 4 players stacked towards B. And Wind and Rain, they've been taking things fairly slowly so far on their side of things. And against the pistols, there's no reason not to. You can afford to take the time, see if the CTs go for any aggression. As of now, though, the CTs just holding fairly far back. I guess towards Banana, they are somewhat peaking, but they're not really too interested in fighting.
Just going to be a little bit of a squabble as Vanity begins to show a bit of face. The Deagle could be able to just play peekaboo with anyone playing towards the back of logs, but nothing will come through, not even an inch of damage. Instead, it will prompt Wind and Rain just to continue their advantage up, using those mollies to clear out the top of Banana, allowing Dantes to get a little bit active with his Mac 10 as he is going to be just pushing it around continuously, so taking map control, I guess, for this T side. That really is the fairest way to describe it, is then they just collapse with this execute down on towards B. The interesting thing, of course, is it's a stack, which means there's a whole lot of players here to cause you some issues. Ozzy up and above means that he can support Truth in this kind of little tap battle of the USP, but ultimately it's the weaponry that are going to carry Wind and Rain through. The AK is brawling up against these pistols, means damage is done, but it's still Wind and Rain to push through with the win. It's a 2v1 that Quick should have no place in. Coming up through Banana short. But what could he possibly do with just a CZ to his name? No Kevlar. Absolutely nothing. Shouldn't get the 1v1, and he will not.
Yeah, for what it's worth, that plant spot there, I mean, it's kind of been talked about that you only really feel comfortable planting there when you do have the banana control, when you plant in front of the coffins. It's definitely the default plant position. In that position, though, I mean, you saw there, the second player had to sort of peek in towards Banana just to make sure the plants could come through. So it did feel a little awkward, but there's not that many other options. So that's why that plant position is chosen. And Dances early on with the AWP there, gets the opening pick out towards mid. Frey's going to go aggressive towards Banana. Nice utility to force them back. The flashes are on point, and Fry gets one. Not the second, though. Doesn't expect two players in sandbags, which I think was reasonable, but it is going to cost him his life. However, still the man advantage for Wind and Rain. And Ozzy, the only player towards B, still getting a little aggressive here. If he were to go down, the round would almost certainly be lost.
They know he's there as well. Cray saw him just within the right side of that smoke, so he knows what's coming. Means Dancy's just going to hold at the angle. The pick comes through. And once again, we come back full circle to a round that is so beautifully in place for this T side. I mean, I'm looking for ways this could go wrong, and it really is the flip of the coin. Do they go towards A? Okay, that's when the going gets tough. You've got Truth on its aggressive angle with the sword to catch you as you rotate. You've got Pickles there with the rifle. But if you go B, which they are doing, what can Vex do? I mean, they can't hold a sight. They're down pretty much. No, they're not even on A. It's going to be a retake, and I don't think they'll even go for that. Knowing they've got an AWP and a rifle, I think they'll just save for the 7th round the minute that plant comes through.
Yeah, they have to save at this point. As soon as they hear the bomb go down, they'll realize there's nothing they can do. And, I mean, it's not exactly going to be a full buy for the next round either, I don't think. Maybe they could go for the force buy with the 2 guns being saved. However, even that is, I guess, a little up for debate. We'll get to see what their money is like after the round plays out, but there we go, we get to see it now. So yeah, not much money in the bank. They have got that losing bonus though, so saving the 2 guns, being able to drop 2 over, may be enough to warrant the force.
Yeah, definitely be interesting to see kind of how that plays out for them. If they go for that force, I mean, things still relatively close, but for Wind and Rain, they've got momentum on their side, and I think that's always going to be a storyline for this team. As when you look at the players, you look at their history, momentum is a big thing for them. When these guys get going, they get riled up. It's kind of like poking the bear. It's hard to tame them after that point. I think that's going to be my biggest concern. Of course, very early on in this game, so I don't want to kind of read too deep into things, but this is a good start. That's really what I'm getting at.
Yeah, so here comes the decision for Vexed. It's probably best at this point to not invest much into this round. You've got the big losing bonus, so you can probably afford to go down to about 2k, and you can see a couple of players investing up. Vanity there just goes for an incendiary and a nade rather than upgrading his pistol. It's quite interesting. There we go. Goes back for the P250 now. However, that suggests he has something in mind for those nades. Maybe just trying to hold off over towards Banana early on. That's currently where he is positioned. And we have seen Wind and Rain get aggressive out towards B quite early. It's also worth pointing out Truth has been chunked down to 7 HP early on. That's not what you want to see when he's got the AWP in play. Vex, though, are trying to battle towards Banana. They're making sure they don't lose full presence there early on, which is something that had been an issue. And look at Quicks. Oh, never mind. Don't look at Quicks because he is dead. Astro just bodies him. Pickles should get this kill. There we go. Eventually finishes that man off, but he's the sole survivor on the ace site.
Problem is now they've got this full wrap around. I mean, they could go through towards B if they wanted, or they could just collapse on towards A. But the only kind of pillar for them there is Pickles. He's decapitated by Fry. I mean, what's left for you on A? I mean, you get the plant, now you get yourself an after plant. You're so happy if you Wind and Rain, really. Let's not beat around the bush. Let's not try and dress this one up. I mean, it's just happy days for them, really. Vexed have no weaponry to really have any business in this round. It's kind of just fallen away from the Astro with a nice little opener. Especially when you have a position like that, that's an easy way for you to get a gun, but no, just instantly shut down. Vanity kind of at least trying to prove that if you can get a kill, you can do something. But he can't even go forward and get that gun because it's in cubby, and there's no way he gets out alive at library.
I mean, you say that.
I mean, he could go backwards. He could go on a spawn, don't get me wrong, but if he leaves library, goes towards cubby to get the gun, he's dead. Like, that's a given.
I was hoping that the caster's curse thing would just happen and like some miracle would happen, like the Wind and Rain's PC.
If he goes back off the bomb, because Fry's left him, he might actually be able to get something.
Oh, what?
Look at the floor. Look at the floor, and you would have seen the gun. It wasn't in cubby.
Yep. He had time there as well. Like, he ran into the corner just assuming it was there, right?
I feel like the last like second of what we see here is just looking at the gun. It's just him hitting E and going, Valve, please. that's really kind of the last few moments of him. Let's see, it gets pushed on forward to round number 8. 5-2 right now, Wind and Rain. Very good stead. Of course, a lot of emphasis being placed on towards the Hellfire that is Banana. Set aflame very early on. It does eventually quiet on down, instead prompts the peak, but Fry, quick as anything, Vanity. Good night, sweet dream, was going to be tucked in by the AK-47. There's just nothing left of him on the floor.
I don't know if Vexed have done too much wrong so far. Like, a lot of the rounds, they've been in positions where they should get the kills, and then headshot just comes through. Wind and Rain clearly got very talented players. They get the initial entry yet again. I mean, it was a good adaptation from Vexed after realizing Wind and Rain had been going for quite heavy Banana presence, just to go ahead and put those mollies down, put those nades in, make sure you can hold it off. Also, having the 3 players there was very useful, of course, as we see the A play.
Worth noting that Vexed did full rotate away from B, leaving and then eventually pushing Quicks back to the site, just having a little bit of caution there. But Wind and Rain, they go back to this kind of simplistic style of Counter-Strike where they want to just go their executes and do what they know and love, and it's working for them so well. The trading game begins to come through. We see a bit of flair from Aussie, but it doesn't last too long. It is going to be Astro to keep the dream alive as Dances finishes off Quicks, and it's another round for Wind and Rain. And I feel like it really comes down to the basics of their T side that's working out well for them at this point, because really they're just getting a pick and then they're going into an execute. If you wanted to break down their players as kind of elementary CS, like into phases, that's really all they're doing. They're just getting a frag towards Banana or finding a pick towards, say, Short or in Apartments, and then they're breaking into an execute with all the trimmings, the mollies, the flashes, the smokes. Everything comes out. They waltz on towards a site. They get themselves a few trades, but for the most part, it's a fairly comfortable round. That is the storyline of this T side.
Yeah, this time around, the nade in towards Banana does damage to Crate.
Oh, wow. Fantasy man, the chicken. Wow. That's just not cool. Vexed, you got to look after this guy. Like, that's just not acceptable.
I don't know if I can continue to cast in these conditions. I'm devastated right now. I mean, the chicken. What did the chicken do to deserve?
It was just in the corner, man. Like, it just didn't need that.
Aussie trying to play up close. The counter smoke came in, so that will slow things down. I don't think Wind and Rain were looking to commit to the B play. Either way, but the boost coming in, I think. Yes, it is. Fry boosting his teammate over the top, and Cray spots the man, but not quite the timing right this time for the T side.
Oh, this is beautiful.
Yes.
They've used the boost. They know full well that they haven't been able to get a kill, but it's prompted all the rotates. So now they're going to come up through mid and they're going to go into the execute again. If they do that, it's going to work so well. They've got all the mollies. This is what they've done it before. So I'm just going to wait patiently to see exactly what the play is going to be. But if we see all those mollies come down on towards long and allow them to clear it out, this is going to be one hell of a round. But it looks like instead of an execute, they just want to contact. Obviously aware that they're up against these pistols. Probably a better decision, all things considered. Makes the round a little bit less frantic. I mean, that's the story of this game on a whole, right? Player peaks, without even a second spare, gets taken on down. We see a little bit of action on the site, but everything is going to be diffused by Fry, and it's just Vanity and Truth out of action, rotating on towards A. Better late than never.
Did Fry try and shoot the chicken there? And, well, I mean, he's just killed 2 opponents, but I think he tried to shoot the chicken and missed.
The chickens in that scenario are Truth and Vanity.
Yeah, nice. Nice. Just letting that one simmer for a bit. Double AWPs, though. There we go. Vex tries something new. Might not be an awful idea, honestly. When you're playing against a team that are playing for picks, just try and hold an angle with an AWP, see if you can react first. That should work most of the time, but we've seen Wind and Rain be on point so far. Looks is going to go aggressive, but Dancy's out towards mid. Again, gets that first pick. He's continuing the aggression. Dancy's, don't do it. Truth is going to recover the AWP, so Dancy's will decide to hone things in. Vanity, in the meantime, though, got a pick back towards B, and that means Wind and Rain are just going to elect to group up around this A site.
Astro goes through these. He used to do this a lot. Like, he'll either wait for the smoke to fade or he'll flash through. Look, he's done it. He just bops around through the smoke, hugs the wall, and then he'll just hold on to long corner, wait for a peek. Then he'll group up with his team and they'll collapse on towards short. That's usually the sort of Astro play you see. Sometimes he splits off and does his own thing towards long, but it's still the same. Getting through that smoke, getting the information, causing the noise to allow for that pick on towards truth, and everything works out, leaving just Pickles stuck on his own little island of pit. He's got Vanity supporting him, but they're still so worried about long. Ooh. He's completely blind. Yeah. I mean, where do you look? His Pickles trying to hold things down, doing so much from pit. He's good for 2, but unfortunately the 3rd is what he needed. Unable to achieve it, he is going to be cut down. The bomb to be shuffled on towards the site. It's from there. It shall be planted. And he'll be Vexed. 1v2. Ozzy, in fact, the player to wear that jersey as he tries to make this one work. Coming in through long corner. That's going to be his position. Near him in the game to try and find that pick towards site, but he's got nothing on Link as the headshot is connected, and it's beautiful as ever. As the scoreline goes 8-2, at about damn time we see a tactical pause for Vexed.
Yeah, with good reason. 8-2 down. I was kind of saying earlier that Fry can maybe be the, I guess, X factor of the team, as in if he shows up, it just makes Winds and Rain almost unplayable. And that's kind of happened here today. I think he was at 14 kills there, top-ragging the server, doing a lot of work. But having said that, the entire team has really been stepping up. It kind of has been a team effort. As you said, quite a few of the rounds have just been really well played from this team. So heading on to Inferno, clearly working very, very well for this team. I mean, yeah, what else is there to say? They managed to win, remember, on Mirage as well in their first game against Enclave 2 days ago now, back on Monday. I mean, if they take a convincing win here against Vexed, I think they're massive favorites to take Group B. Even though it's early stages, they just look on point.
Yeah, I mean, they're already in pretty good stead. I just think it's interesting how this game is unfolded. I'm still hung up over Vexed and really how fortunate they've been in some of these rounds. I mean, how many times have they peeked around a corner and before we even see anything, they've lost their head? I mean, it's... Yeah. I don't want to use the phrase pre-fire because it doesn't accurately represent the situation, but it should help paint the picture in your minds for you guys at home of exactly what's been happening in some of those moments we haven't quite caught on camera, but you see how they kind of unfold. You look back at kind of the game itself and you just go, what can you do if you're Vexed? What can you do? I don't know what they changed, honestly. It's the individual duels they're losing, and that's what's setting them up in such a bad footing. And I mean, they're on their CT side. If they're getting picked apart every single round, giving up 1 or 2 kills every single round, you're on Inferno. You're always going to then struggle. That's a fact.
Yeah, they've just got to shoot quicker. I mean,
it's not quite that simple, but
no.
Yeah. I mean, they've just got to not allow Wind and Rain to go for these kind of aggressive little voyages on towards sites. I mean, we're going to see the same thing here. Wind and Rain starting to prod up towards Banana. They're going to send a Cray for a little bit of a walk. He starts to just check things out. But the interesting thing is that we kind of am describing it as if it's kind of this willy-nilly aggression, no real respect or care in the world, but it's not. It's methodically checking every single angle, taking every little peek with the same level of care, and they're just picking them apart off the back of that. I mean, in this round, Cray was given the first frag towards Banana. We see the same thing come through towards A-Long as well, as they just walk into this hungry pack of T-side players just ready and waiting to get themselves on towards a site. And from there, once again, the round is basically gone because it's a 4v3. The bomb is planted, the weaponry hugely in favor of the Wind and Rain. I mean, it's literally a landslide. Meaning that for Vexed, it's going to be another save. That AK is going to be carried through to the 12th round, sure. But it is 9-2. That is a devastating scoreline on a map like Inferno to a T-side. You really have to be worrying right now about Vexed and how much they're going to be able to show going forward in this game.
Yeah, certainly. A couple of kills come out there. Truth got one on towards Astro. That was out towards Library. He does sneak away with an AK. So that's a nice little extra save for Vexed. However, it's a small consolation at this point, considering the scoreline you were talking about earlier. I mean, maybe I'm sort of exaggerating here, but it kind of almost feels like it's now or never for Vexed, right? Like, they need to start winning some gun rounds. We just haven't seen it come through enough. It's only the 1-AWP this time around for Quicks. The rest of the team with the rifles. Vanity should buy up the nades. There we go, decides to do so. So full nades on all the rifle players. Quicks with the AWP has to invest into that, so can't afford the full set of utility. They're only going to go 2 towards Banana early this time around. That could make things a little more difficult in holding it off. Nice molly, by the way. Gotta love it.
That's really annoying molly to land.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
That's like, on Inferno, I'd say it's probably one of the most frustrating mollies to throw, because it's like you kind of have to get the perfect angle.
Get on
I don't
the...
know kind of what we were going for with the whole... You guys can't see it, but the hand movement I'm trying to use to describe it. Like, I'm not really sure what was going on there, but I don't know. I feel like this is definitely now and ever to bring it back to get a little point. I mean, for Win and Rain, they've got more money in the bank than sense. New org, 15k right now on like Link. I mean, he's going to spend more time looking at Rolexes than he is than anything else. It's really got to be Vexed stepping up and catching them off guard, telling them, you know what, you still got to give us the respect that we deserve on our CT side. It may well be 9-2, but we're still here to play, and that's what we're looking for. Will they actually do it? I mean, I guess we're going to find out. So far, not so good. It's 55 seconds in. Vexed haven't been able to achieve anything, but they've also not lost anyone. The problem is, and one of the most concerning things, is that when you look at their B-hole and you identify the points of weaknesses, it's textbook to what we've seen round and round in the past from Win and Rain, where they've just annihilated Vanity. They've taken down whoever it may be towards the back of their site, this time, of course, being Aussie, and that leaves them in a really tight spot. However, the utility is good. It's keeping it nice and delayed. Quicks is going to secure a pick on towards Link, so there's that at least. And, hey, there's a good flash. Oh. Aussie. That's a crispy pick on towards Cray. Now it's getting better and better, but you got to keep it going. Keep the pressure on. Aussie being set aflame, has to swing out, but gets both kills before Dancy shuts him down.
Aussie just steps up there. I mean, that first kill, 1 bullet, precision, gets the headshot, and then that second spray down was really nice as well. Just
he saves that round, like, on so many levels, because he's mollied out, and so when you're mollied out like that, you have a decision to make, right? Swing left or swing right. But ultimately, you know you're going to be swinging into an angle. It's going to be messy. The fact that he can swing so far out wide to the right and pick up 2 kills before they respond turns it from, okay, this is a little messy, but Win and Rain are just trading and taking the site, to, hold on a second, everything starts to be plucked away for this T side, and it reverts everything we built up to in that round, saying that B side was a struggle. It turns it all on its head. So Aussie, the champion right now of Vexed, he gets them their 3rd.
Yeah, and it's also worth pointing out that that molly that came in there, it kind of looked like it spread a little slowly, so it gave him a little bit of time to maybe think. Then he kind of stood in the molly for a bit and then swung out. So it's certainly possible that Wind and Rain thought the position was clear, considering the molly had been up for a little bit of time, and I think that did allow him to catch the players off guard. I mean, nonetheless, he's got the command on. He's got it.
Pickles. Lock on, buddy. Lock on.
Oh, he's so good.
It's actually working out really well for him. That's the frustrating part about that. Oh, this is a nice little angle from Quicks as well. Being a little bit innovative in this 13th round. Oh, Link. Ooh, tempting fate. Looks like we are still going to see them get riled up towards 8. Oh, boys.
Oh.
Oh, how does that happen? How does that happen? It's a bloodbath up on the A site, kills going backwards and forwards. Quicks is on a line towards Pit, but he's making it work. Not going down without a fight will be Link, though, as he does make it back to a 2 versus 2. Aussie walking through the smoke, but Dancy's is just going to make a fool of him. Leaving just Vanity. Once again, all on his young little shoulders, trying to see if he can make it work. Pulls it to a 1v1, but the bomb ticking. This makes it tough. The nade is good, impeccable, in fact. Putting him down to 35 HP, but Link, he is just doing the tango. But it will not be enough. Vanity, incredible play. At least a double kill for him, and most importantly, an AWP as he clutches Vexed 4th.
Yeah, he was doing the tango, but this is Counter-Strike. It's not about dancing, it's about shooting. Maybe if this was Dance Dance Revolution or something, he'd have won, but he didn't.
Hey, it's UKCS. We can talk about Strictly Come Dancing. It's okay.
Ooh, there you go. There you go. That's better. I mean, either way, Wind and Rain, they still have money for the buy, of course. They haven't really gone for the AWP in too many of the recent rounds. To be fair, Dancy's was on point with the AK there, so no real need to. Especially on the T side of Inferno, it can get a little bit awkward. If you can't get that opening pick towards mid, then sometimes it can be a bit awkward to push towards the site with the AWP in hand. I mean, there's certainly still options, but I can see the reason why you don't necessarily need to go for it. And it looks like Vex's going to get aggressive into apps. That is a sick flick from Quick. Spots both players, but does eventually decide to take down Fry early on. And Wind and Rain, they were congregating around A, but they might have second thoughts now they know the AWP is positioned towards this side of the map.
Yeah, starting to really adjust themselves, being very idle towards the bottom of mid, but we can already see them just get a little inkling that they want to hit towards B. I mean, that's point proven by both Darties and Cray. This little duo that begin to take themselves out of control. Going to throw a flash off the corner as well, just to see whether anyone is going to be there to peek, whether the AWP has adjusted, maybe holding the angle. Just basically getting a feel for what's going on. Of course, another angle to watch will be Truth, just seeing how he approaches this little dogfight over towards Archway. But nonetheless, 50 seconds left. I mean, it's going to be an intense round. Just the question is, where will the fights happen? That's kind of really what we're looking for, because it could be both towards Arch, but it also could be towards B. I mean, we're seeing this textbook wrap towards B. Truth, that is just everything he needs to do. Securing both those kills, I mean, there's nothing more to say. It annihilates this B play. Cray and Dancy's both now left blind. They are just running around like headless chickens. Truth gonna go flying on through. Go on, buddy. The quadra kill is yours. You deserve it. Nicely done.
Yeah, and Vexed had the B hold lined up quite well there. You saw the two players over towards triple box, one standing up on top of it, the other player just standing to the left. So they were always going to be able to hold on after that CT side of the push was sort of extinguished, I guess you could say, just completely shut out. And now Wind and Rain into the last round of the half have to go for the buy, but it is slightly suboptimal. We were talking about the fact that their economy was strong earlier. However, they've lost quite a few rounds in a row now, so Vexed back in the ascendancy. Having said that, Wind and Rain making a lot of noise here in towards Apps. I wouldn't expect them now to go for the full-on A play after they've made so much noise. They should be aware that Vex would have heard that. But at the same time, you wouldn't expect Vex to rotate just from that noise early on. So maybe they will still go for this push.
That smoke from Quicks might actually come back to haunt them too, because that could just that could be a little bit of a waterfall play from Wind and Rain now, just come flying out towards balcony. It gives them a few choices at the end of the day. I mean, it depends on if they think that Quicks is there with the AWP, whether they think it's a rifle. Basically relies on a few hunches, but I mean, I feel like that's definitely a play that Wind and Rain would make. We'll have to wait and see. For now, of course, slowing it right down to a grinding halt, just really falling back towards second mid, setting up with those three smokes, of course, and the two mollies they've got with Link and Astro means that we are going to see that little execute come through. It's very limited in nature, though. As three players do jump on out. Pickles finding one, looking for a second. The bomb left completely trapped. Makes going a little tough towards the site, but they're pulling through. Truth stepping up to the plate, though. That's 2 kills for him, looking for a third, but will lose his head thanks to Cray. I mean, we're back in a 2v2. I don't know how we got here, but hey, we're alive and kicking. The site's in a blaze. This just got interesting. 25 seconds on the clock, bear in mind, Hawks. This has got to be done now for Wind and Rain.
And Vexed are aware of that. They're playing patiently for the time being. Aussie is in towards short. Ooh, the timing nearly there, but the bomb goes back to the site. Having said that, Vanity in the back gets the spray down, and Astro now is left in such a tricky position. They know where he is, and Vanity barely stops moving there. The AK swings wide, and that just shows why it was so difficult. They knew pretty much exactly where he was. They just double-peeked the position, and there it is. 6 rounds at the end there for Vexed. They will be really happy that they've managed to at least salvage that. I think they were 9-2 down at one point, so they've brought this back into a very winnable game. Yeah,
going from 9-2 down to 9-6. 4 rounds consecutively right towards the end of this half. Vanity, you know, I kind of put a little bit of pressure on his shoulders. I did a fair bit during that first half, effectively referred to him as the young guy, hinting him not having kind of a huge amount of experience and that sort of kind of whole narrative within itself. But in fairness to him, those last 4 rounds, he was alive for every single one of them. Didn't die 4 rounds back to back. I mean, that should say you a lot right now about his play, stepping up in a time of need and allowing Vex to push short to 6, which really allows them to save this game if you wanted to put something like that together. I think that now they have a very, very strong chance of fighting in this second half. At 9-2, it could have been completely different. We could have been seeing something as devastating as a 13-2 12-3 half, and at that point, we wouldn't be sat here saying Vex have a fighting chance, or Vex even have a chance at all. We'd say, okay, what's for lunch tomorrow?
Yeah, and we were definitely saying earlier the fact that this didn't... I mean, it looked like a one-sided game, right? But not because Vex were playing poorly, just because they were kind of getting destroyed on the aim fights. However, as soon as those ridiculous kills stopped coming in for Wind and Rain, they didn't seem to be able to have much to fall back on. I mean, the rounds were certainly still close. They could have won a few of them at the end there. However, it seemed like those few kills were really pushing them over the edge, those entries they were getting. And, I mean, sure, they were really nice shots, but it certainly didn't feel like something they could always rely on. And I guess that proved to be the case because Vexed managed to get a fair few rounds at the end there. Yeah,
they broke the momentum, broke the chain. Just managed to keep on getting those rounds. They started off with one.
Ooh, technical pause. There we go.
Hopefully not too many issues going on. It'd be a shame, I think, especially for Vexed right now more than anything else. I mean, you bring it back 9-6, then you get struck by a tech issue. That's kind of rough. So hopefully it's not something that's affecting them too badly. I think no matter what, whether it's them or whether it's Wind and Rain, it still kind of sucks. I mean, sure, they can piece things together, but that kind of success of 4 rounds back-to-back is definitely going to begin to fade.
I blame that chicken there, just above the technical pause sign.
It's having a little kind of dance, isn't it? Like,
yeah. I mean, it looks like he's pecking something. Has he got like a little... Oh, he's walking into the wall.
I think he's like spotted something on the wall.
Oh, he's gone. We won't get to see what he's doing. He's probably hacking right now, I'd say.
Oh, yeah,
just hacking the server. With he's got a little keyboard in front of him. He's just pecking random things.
He's the reason this tech pause is happening right now. He's been having a little play with Wind and Rain's computers. Obviously, they are suffering. It has been confirmed. Obviously, the technical issue is affecting them, meaning Vexed can just sit tight and continue to talk things through. At least they have peace of mind that they can, you know, they can sit and they can talk about their player. There's no real better way to dress it up, but. Yeah, it's a waiting game at this point. I mean, we can look towards Wind and Rain. They currently do hold the lead, obviously 9 rounds for them, and they can step up in this second half and try and close this one out. But it's their CT side now that they're going to be on, and I think that could be an interesting dynamic. I think that in the past, Wind and Rain as a team and as their core 3, which is where they have their most experience playing together, they've been stronger on their CT side, I think. You know, if I go from memory, a lot of their success, both in Prax and in officials on their CT side, have been very, very strong. But it's whether they have that consistency to show now with, you know, the form of Wind and Rain. You know, we've seen it both in their ESL matches as well. They've had strong showings on either side, but they haven't really kind of shown that same sort of tenacity that we've seen in the past from them.
Wow, aggression early on. Dancy's out towards second mid. Through apartments, gets the opening kill, but the push comes in top mid. Vex get the trade back, and Link can't fall back to the site. Eventually gets back to safety, and Cray is in position. He pulls the trigger, doesn't get the kill, but the frags come through elsewhere for the CTs. Astro and Link both chiming in, and Link gets the second. That makes all the difference, because now Pickles is left all by his lonesome, and I don't fancy his chances.
It's great because I'm talking about tenacity and I'm saying, you know what, for Wind and Rain, we've seen them play some great CS overall, but we have kind of seen so-so CT sides from them in the past. And I use that phrase tenacity at a pretty apt timing because they get aggressive in this pistol in the second half. It works out so well. I mean, we see a double kill from Link. That kind of drive-by headshot as he withdraws was just absolutely nasty. You see Astro puts up that kill as well. Dancy's getting one before he does fall. I mean, overall, it's just great play from that CT side, and it does begin with that aggressiveness.
Well, Pickles is still trying to keep the dream alive. Oh, pulls the nade out at the wrong time. Takes a bit of damage for his troubles. Nade comes in. Does get the dink. And Fry continues to fight. However, his confidence is rewarded with a kill. And now Wind and Rain have the opportunity to take a considerable lead here. Vexed didn't really get that many kills either, so it's only going to be pistols brought up for them. I guess Aussie could maybe buy an ump, but yeah, better to just go for the CZ, to be honest. Pickle's going to be saving, so shouldn't see too much here. Oh no, Pickles buys last second. I was going to say, that was a bit strange, but he does buy up. Nade's going to come down Banana. Fry's going aggressive. His team isn't following him up here. Fry goes down first. That's a little strange. I mean, the player behind him, I think, was lining up the flashes for him, but as soon as they don't work, he goes down first. It's only a UMP lost, but it did feel maybe a little unnecessary, I guess.
Both unnecessary and also just gives up a UMP, and I think that you have to look at that UMP in the equivalency of an AK-47 in the context of this round, because that's very, very powerful right now. I'll have to wait and see what use it will be, of course. Quick's the man to wield it, but nonetheless, that's a weapon that really shouldn't have been given up. So hopefully Wind and Rain can continue to hold it out and prove that it's not quite the end of the world. Astro also being caught towards B just adds insult to injury. Leaving just Cray now to try and hold things back with his MP9. He's also caught in the back by Aussie. Things just get from bad to worse. Wind and Rain, where are you at? Everything has gone wrong. You've been caught 3 different places. You've got to try and bring things back. I mean, it's a flailing attempt from CT from Dancy. He does get a kill, but that may well be all he's good for. I mean, his teammate is 11 HP anyway, so is there really a retake on the cards here?
Yeah, Darcy's would have to do a lot of the damage. She spots another player out, but there's no molly. Oh, there is now. It comes in, but Darcy's loses that critical fight. And that means Link realizes he cannot do anything. And I said that Wind and Rain could get out to a considerable lead, but that doesn't look like it will be the case. Vexed managed to take the round win. And as you were saying there, maybe, I don't know, I guess just a little bit... I mean, not necessarily overconfident from Wind and Rain, but maybe they just didn't quite expect... Oh, that kill came in. Very, very last second there, that kill comes in. Does give Link a little bit of extra cash as well. Could be worth pointing out. I mean, he could buy a FAMAS now. We'll see if he's... what he decides to spend it on. Nope, just nades. I thought he was going to drop the MP9, but he's greedy.
Hopefully this time they don't get caught with the Molotov in their hands, though.
Yeah.
That was just really rough for Astro. If he was, you know, standing proud, holding an angle, he may have been able to do something to play with his teammate, but just timing, unfortunately, coming back to haunt them. Of course, the upside here is that we haven't seen Vex just kind of run away with a real advantage. They have obviously got the trio of AKs in play now, but they still got these two SMGs on both Aussie and Vanity, and that's a welcome chance to Wind and Rain to at least try and punish them. Obviously, their weaponry isn't great. It's scouts and pistols thrown together with one SMG. But you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. We'll get to see if they can, at the very least, do damage.
That's an angle.
Yeah, nice try.
I'm not sure if that's a scout angle, though.
I mean, maybe if the player below just randomly spams with the CZ, he could like get a stray bullet. That probably wouldn't be.
Yeah, but is that really a...
Yeah.
I don't think that favours a scout, to be honest.
Maybe he's just going to bang off the heads, you don't know.
Tell you what we do see, though. The smoke flash combo coming in towards this B site. Astro trying to lay down a few shots, but unfortunately getting very little done. Darcy's proving me wrong. Does land a shot with the scout. Gets it to the head of Quicks, and I think Sam's ready. I think he was considering pushing it, but decides to hold back. Scrapping the Nevermind cool as the bomb will begin to tick on down, and Wind and Rain... I think they might even begin to exit here. I mean, they're finding nothing so far. You got a very patient Darcy's, but there's nothing that's coming his way. Flash towards Banana. A quick trade, but nothing more. Ooh, peeking that. That's an issue. Truth does take down Darcy's, but that prompts the aggression to come through. The swing from Vanity has to be the hero to keep this one going. That CZ, though, the jump shot to come on through.
Has he... Yeah, I think it's close.
I think it's close. I honestly have no idea. There's 2 seconds left. He's got it. He's actually got away with it. Wind and Rain. You think they're done. You think they're out for the count. But it's Fry to pull through with a triple kill to keep the dream alive.
Yeah, just back and forth stuff. But I mean,
I thought that shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go out there and say what we're all thinking. That shouldn't happen. That shouldn't be a round that gets converted for Wind and Rain in any way, shape, or form. Vexed. I mean, the weird thing is that the AK player being alone towards Banana did give up that AK quite early on. Ooh, decent nade early. Takes Vanity down low. That's the rifle player as well, so that could be considerable. But yeah, as I was saying, having the AK solo towards Banana, if you have the second player there, it's a really strong position for the post plant as well, especially if you know the opponents don't have nades. You can pretty easily spot towards the bomb, assuming that they don't just hold the angle. Nonetheless, Astro going to get flushed in. They were so blind. If Astro went for the peak there, he would have had plenty of players to aim at, but he decided to play it safe, and that means that they're just going to have to hold the site itself. Astro doesn't get the kill. It's Fry who steals it away. A wild spray through the smoke, not going to connect. So they have to concede the site, but oh, Darcy's gets a shot through that smoke to give Wind and Rain the man advantage, at least for the retake. The worst part about that is they've had to make so much noise and reshuffle their entire setup to get those guns that leaves them in a really bad position. But Vanity and Quicks, okay then, they both pull through their kills, taking down Cray and Link. I mean, it all comes down towards this duo of Fry and Darcy. So far, so good, but that smoke, that's tough. But they spray on through, they find a kill. They find a second as well. Vanity and Quicks, once again, keeping Vexed in this game. Look at the money of Wind and Rain too.
Surely they don't win this for.
They are broke. This tug of war should be over.
It's been back and forth, back and forth. They don't win this one. I'm calling it. I mean, who knows? They might. With how this game has been going, I mean, it's 5 AKs though. It's 5 AKs against Wind and Rain's CZs and Scout. I guess we did see Dancy's get a headshot previously, and they've gone for a 4A stack. Fry going to be solo holding B with just the CZ. He does have a smoke as well, so he can slow things down, or at least attempt to. And there goes Quicks early. Oh, truth through apartments. You love it when you get a kill like that. It's always satisfying. And there it is. Wind and Rain lose early on. Vanity finds another frag. And finally we put a bit of sense back into the game. The force spy almost certainly unsuccessful.
A slow burning push now coming up through mid. It looks like a fairly comfortable T side as they are going to begin to wander round on towards the A site, just looking for that plant. Astro has himself a target in the round. That's just to get a kill and get a rifle. Step 1, complete. Step 2, actually pick up the AK though. I mean, he's used the smoke just to allow him to walk down into it and pick up the rifle. There you go. Step 3, profit. Happy to... yep, Quick's okay then. Never mind. Scrap that completely. There's no rifle anymore. It's gone.
No profit. Where's it all gone?
Yeah. You should ask the people invested in Bitcoin about that. Maybe they'd know.
Oof. Oof. I mean, the people that invested in Bitcoin right at the start are still loving it, to be fair. But,
true.
You know, there's definitely some people that are not happy. I mean, I don't think
this has got way too deep for
yeah.
an off-the-card attempt at a joke.
Yeah.
This has got quite intense.
Very intense. Like this game.
108 shots were fired in that last round. There you go.
108. Ooh.
Oh.
You're right there, Fry.
Had a bit of a shake.
Must be a little bit angry. I'd be a bit angry if I was him. I mean, Wind and Rain could have had they had a few chances to have a much cleaner lead, and now this game is very much up for grabs. Just the CZ for Fry in this round. Goes for a little bit of a run around the spawn, stack towards the A site. 4 USPs alongside him, but Truth is going to go aggressive. He goes around the corner, lines them up. Only going to get the 2 kills. However, the MAC-10 has already paid for itself there. 1.2k in the bank. And it looks like Vexed have made the call that they think it is an A stack. That is the right call in this round. But Fry with the CZ has rotated back around quickly. They might not expect him to be in that position, but the molly denies any chance of him really doing damage.
Yeah, looks like he's going to be a bit of a Disco Inferno. He's going to be there just standing on the other side of the flames, being tacked on down to 19 HP. That is all he shall have. Quickly drawing towards CT. Means that it is going to be pretty much the end of this one for Wind and Rain. Just still looking for those exits with Cray and Link, but it's looking like a tough battle for them. Looks like they might not even get any way with that either, as that bomb begins to tick, and that glass is just being absolutely railed.
It's a very nice stained glass painting, just ruined. I mean, it's not been ruined because somehow it doesn't break.
Is it actually nice, Cray? If you could just like spin around for us real quick, I'd love to see if it's actually nice. I've never looked at it, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's one of those things you're just not sure.
Ooh.
You know what though? If they get an exit kill, that's pretty nasty. And Aussie chased.
Aussie, yeah.
That was.
Oh. How's that happened?
Guys, how have you let that one happen then?
There's a pause just for them to rub it in. Just be like, what have you done? You just lost your guns.
How
I mean,
they
still have loads of money. They're all right, but you hate to see it, really.
You do. You do. You got an Albert Einstein quote for that?
Albert Einstein once said, if your opponents are all on eco, you should just all save your guns.
They have. I was hoping for something like at least not CS related.
No.
Somewhat remotely believable.
Albert Einstein's a time traveler, actually. He's around. I've seen him around.
That's a bit about.
He's out and about.
This is by far one of the weirdest segments.
No, it's perfectly normal. Do you want to comment on the scenery on the map?
Sure.
Nice little background there.
It is actually, isn't it? I think Inferno is like the greatest little backdrop for like just like creative cinematography like that.
I guess, is this just a little village in the middle of like a bunch of fields and trees? Then?
You know, you can actually go to this place, right? Specifically the bit with the bells and stuff as well. Like you can actually go there because Sapphire's friend got married there, I believe.
It's a convoluted story.
Look, it was a tweet. I remember. I'm pretty sure it was a friend or some family, someone related to her, like a player that she knows. I'm pretty sure got married there, and she went there as like a bridesmaid or something. I'm just remembering tweets.
Citation.
Give me a break. You're the worst. Go back to uni, right? Like we came here to talk about CS, not uni. God damn it. I like the little boost as well, though. Coming out again, just boosting off the doorway, of course. Seeing if they can find anything down towards mid, but getting nothing means that information will be anything but in favor of Wind and Rain, as Vexed will set up for this fully fledged execute towards his A site. Hawkins, quick yes or no, does it work?
Yes.
All right, let's see. The flash comes out, the smokes come through as well. He's completely blind, but the same story to be said. The boost comes out. Darcy's raining down the fire on them. The shots come through, but not a single kill is going to be found. Astro trying desperately to claw his way back in, but will it be enough? That is the question on our minds, and we begin to get ourselves an answer. Astro and Cray both fighting at it, both getting kills, leaving Aussie and Quicks on the site with very little to spare. 25 HP on both those players, 50 combined, with 2 flashbangs as well, 2 Ps from the same pod. But can they play like it, playing brothers in arms to try and make this clutch work? So far, not so good. Astro taking down Quicks, now looking for one more. Aussie is going to get the headshot, but then will lose his life.
So was my prediction wrong? I mean, it kind of worked in terms of getting a plant. I'm clutching at straws, I really am. Yeah, good retake, though, from Wind and Rain.
Did I hear David Attenborough killed the straw?
What?
What? You don't get that?
What did you just say?
I said, did not hear David Attenborough killed the straw. Forgotten Planet? No?
No,
He was a huge thing on Twitter, but okay.
Okay, I'm
explaining that to you after, because I feel like that's just a long tangent to get into.
Especially considering we're in a gun round. We're pretty late into the game as well. I mean, 12-10, definitely hotting up. Still no AWPs in play. I think the economies are probably quite fragile on either side. I mean, Vexed might have a bit built up. Actually, I don't know. Yep. You can kind of see the stained glass window there, by the way.
There's a chicken under the fryer. I could also see that. You thought you came here to watch some quality CS. Instead, you got to listen to us babble on about I have no idea. But at least there's some CS here and there. Every now and then we see a bit of goodness sprinkled in, some headshots, some interesting kills, and some very awkward rounds, I feel like, in some cases. I mean, Vexed have been, I think, very unlucky in some of these scenarios. Just not played out the way they'd hoped for. Nonetheless, still looking for this B site. A few flashes will be thrown out, leaves them completely blind, but Truth does not care about that. He finds himself a kill. Aussie opening up for a second as well. Means the site is going to be taken. The plant should come through. Vexed sitting pretty over on B.
Yep, that's a save. Can't do much there. It's really frustrating as well for the A players. It's pretty tough to hold off B, though, honestly, when you give them that much ground. That's something that Vexed might look to go forwards towards in the future. I mean, if that B site is going to be left with only 2 players holding it, then it's quite easy to take. Even if you get even trades, you should be really happy with the position you've left yourself in. So that's something that Vexed could lean towards. We'll get to see if Wind and Rain decide to adapt. Having said that, for the time being, they're not focused on that. They're focused on saving these rifles, which should be quite easy. Vexed not hunting down too hard. They are just going to hold off on the A site, and they will be good to go. So the 3 rifles saved. You can see the rest of the Wind and Rain team don't have that much money in the bank. I mean, they have to force up realistically. There we go. The FAMAS is dropped. However, if they lose this round, it's straight back down to Ecos, and Vexed could gain a really, really important lead at this late stage of the game.
Does Fry only have 9 kills, or is that just his second half stat line?
I believe second half. I think he was... That's why we had the technical issues. I think he DC'd. Because I think he also has very few deaths.
Yeah, I wondered that. I was like, something's not right about his stats. Shame. I wanted to see how many kills he had. I'm pretty sure I just saw someone from Vex spinning around in circles, but it is what it is. They are getting themselves set up towards A as they are going to take a quick journey through A long and actually given a chance to wrap towards B, but they say no. Instead, they stick their ground. Heads up through A, wrapping through long as a full set 5. Not dealing with Pit just yet, but eventually they begin to get it done. Blink causing a bit of damage and ultimately only getting away with a kill, but can finish them. He's put Aussie and Truth down to 50 and 75, but when in Rain, they know they're out for the count. They already begin to save. It's going to go 12-12.
I think that's twice now that Dancy's has been on the opposite site that was taken. Might be a little frustrating for him, but you did see there, Wind and Rain. I was saying it'll be interesting to see if they decide to adapt to losing the B site. I guess they kind of did in this round. They had 3 players leaning towards B. Vex just go for the 5-man A push, and this time around, the A site gets overrun. You saw there as well, a lot of ground given up by Wind and Rain. They let Vex run onto the site itself. That meant the rotate was quite slow. They were in pretty good positions to try and get kills, but it just didn't happen, and that meant that Vex get an easy win and a couple of exit kills on top. Either way, Wind and Rain won't invest into this round, so it should almost certainly be Vexed gaining the lead, and this has really been impressive on their T side. I mean, after that sort of back and forth, sort of topsy-turvy start to this half, Vexed seem to have really found their footing now.
Yeah, as the game continues to develop, we start to see things that are just better and better from them. I think Quicks individually as well is really finding his feet and having that impact. We're seeing a lot from Truth. Those two players really kind of starting the round strong. You got Ozzy coming in as well to basically close it is kind of the combination that Vexed really need to have right now. And it's working out for them pretty well, of course. Link in this one is going to sneak in a bit of damage with his P250, but when the going gets tough, Pickles steps into the service, starts to trade things back. These pistols begin to get shut down, and Wind and Rain effectively just melted away. It's the only thing that stops this from going in favor of Vexed, and by that then taking the lead, is Dancy's. He's the only one with a rifle, and he wants to save again, which is disastrous for Wind and Rain. I mean, they've had the lead the whole game long. They're finally going to give it up in round number 11 in the second half to Vexed.
Third round in a row that Dancy's was on the wrong side. Just want to point it out. I say it because I think he's been the player that's been switching between A and B the most often. I don't know if that's going to be his call. Like, it feels like it would be his decision to say, I want to go to this site. But I don't know. It just kind of feels like that's the player that Dancy's is, right? That he'd want to get involved in the action. He'd be the guy saying, hey, I want to be here. I want to, you know, try and make the difference. So I feel like it could have been him calling for it. Either way, they're just going to have to focus on this round here. And, I mean, the worry is Vexed are stacking cash. Their money probably can't be broken at this point. They are looking good. And we're going to have a quick pause. Tactical this time around. And considering it's so late in the game, that is certainly understandable.
Yeah, I think this is a perfect tactical pause. I think without a doubt we can assume this is from Wind and Rain. They realized that at the end of the day, it's 12-13. We've just lost the lead. Guys, it's time to kind of get our act together. That's really going to be the conversation they're having right now. I mean, I can imagine Astro just kind of screaming his head off, getting a little bit leery. You can have Link just sitting back being relatively quiet. You can have everyone just there, just kind of listening to Astro in general, I think, just kind of saying his piece. And I think that if they can follow his game plan, actually get something together, we might see a welcome, a fighting chance from Wind and Rain. But if they can't, you know, really find their groove on their CT side, most importantly, if they can't just hold on to these sites early on, you know, stop losing these early duels, then this is Vexed map to take. Of course, in this one, you have to bear in mind their economy is, yeah, shaky.
Yeah, they didn't fully invest here. I was expecting the full-on buy.
I think this is okay, though, provided that in this next round, they really have thought through exactly what they're going to be doing. And I mean, down to the specific details. They should be doing that anyway, but it's really going to be accentuated in this next round. This one, of course, it's going to be a hard-fought battle, don't get me wrong. However, with the CZs, there's only so much you can do. Vexed, if you look at the history of how they've approached their D site, have been able to deal with these relatively well. Of course, collapsing on towards the B site, it's the one site where the rifle is, and Dancy's, for the third time in a row, he was not on the right side, but this time it works out. He's there ready and waiting, and in a time of need, Wind and Rain cool him down up from heaven, and he gets 3 kills to keep the dream alive.
The bomb dropped into CT as well. This is a disaster. Cray in on the flank. And that's what's worth pointing out. Even with the CZs, you can certainly still win. It wasn't the CZs that get the win. It was the one rifle they had. And Dancy's, as you were saying, finally on the right site, in the right position. And it looks like it's going to be all tied up. This game is going to go down to the wire. I mean, Pickles could still do something. Cray still hasn't recovered a gun. He was the one man on A who pushed through mid, alongside Link, who's already fallen. Either way, Pickles, I mean, what can he do? He's got to go into the site. There's multiple angles to contest with. 28 seconds, he's going to go for it. Spots the first, but there we go. Dancy's catches him out, and a manic spray. There we go. Wind and Rain finally get around, and you can see what it means to Dancy's.
13-13.
Ooh, and the AWP.
A game that is going the distance. And most importantly, a game that is at an even point in time, both economically and everything else. Sure, we've got Vexed with a lot more money to play with, and they don't really have to worry about this 13th round, but in this 12th, in the present, it's AWP versus AWP, rifle versus rifle, full util versus full util players. They have everything they need on both sides. What this comes down to is just raw skill and how these guys play, how they approach this round, and that's going to be the best thing about this game, because this is a really deciding round. It will push for forward to 14. It will get us just one step closer to match point. And if it's Vexed, it's going to leave Wind and Rain with nothing.
Yeah, actually, I think Wind and Rain might have money in the bank, right? Because in the last round, they saved so heavily. They probably have some cash built up.
Sure. However, the concern is always going to be if they drop this round, they drop the next round. They have nothing really. Like, they're going to exhaust everything they have in that next round. But it's going to be a little rough for them to really kind of save themselves. So, kind of on their last legs, I feel like, if this doesn't go their way. A few good positions though. Most importantly, information gathered. I think Link now just going to fall back to the site. Astro has to be a little cautious not to overextend towards long. Obviously, Vexed getting themselves around once again. The flash is good, but Aussie is so far ahead of the pack, means that he'll be taken down. Cray putting in the work from Pit means all 3 kills for Hill. Line him up, knock him down. Quicks trying desperately to get something on the site. He will flick up with the ult, dispatching of Link, but that's going to be about it, as Astro is going to eke this one over the line. Wind and Rain finding their 14th, going up against the odds, and coming out on the other side alive and kicking. And that is critical. I mean, look at their money. Still able to squeeze this one together, but they are not able to grow anything. It really comes down to just round by round for them.
Yeah, here we go. Vexed. We've seen them go for mostly just pushes together as a team. We've seen that so often from them. It's worked well so far. However, now it seems like Wind and Rain might be starting to hold the sights a little better.
Have got the bankrolls worth noting of Astro and Fry. Just to kind of touch on there, we were talking about economics. They do have at least 2 players on 6Ks. That is at least a benefit for them when up against the wall economically. Nonetheless, like you were saying, we're seeing this build up towards mid. Now the push comes in. Dante's are rattling off 1, but that's all he's good for.
Cray misses the spray. The crouch comes in to save Pickles, and they just overrun the A site very quickly indeed. Link is coming around. He nearly denies the bomb, but Pickles is there. The plant, will come in from Truth. And again, Wind and Rain lose the site from a full-on take on the Vexed side of things. I mean, at this point, when a team is going like this almost every round, is it worth Wind and Rain going aggressive somewhere, trying to get some information early on? If you spot a player, it's pretty likely that it's going to be a push towards that site. And if you don't spot anyone, you could try and stack elsewhere. It seems like that might be something they could go for, especially maybe in towards Banana. Is that an angle? I guess it is.
Fair play to Astro for spotting that.
Yeah.
Still, I'm going to be looking towards the money here for Wind and Rain. It's something that I really tried to stress in the start of this round, and we kind of got it was a little shaky. I mean, I think we missed a few things in terms of looking at Astro and specifically Fry, as they are the real bankers of the CT side. However, the issue is it is just them. So the question remains, with that save, okay, now how much can you drop, right? That could be 2 rifles there and then. That's a buy. However, it goes back to the point of the previous round, which they're going to go into this round with nothing to play with. They've only got 1 player acting as bankroll instead of the 2. It is just going to be Astro now. I mean, how long can they go on like this? The answer, probably only this next round. After that, it's going to be pistols for them to try and play for OT. I mean, we'll have to wait and see how things shape out. 14-14 down to this moment. Truth already getting aggressive towards Banana. Astro just going to be holding the other side of that smoke. Little do they know, there are 5 players there, all bunched up, Vexed. Sat at the table, going all in with every single chip, just hoping that this plays out the way they expect. The Molly is going to be wreaking havoc, setting them ablaze as they push on through. Vanity does secure the first pick. Cray boosting up. It's beautiful, secures a frag in return, but only the one, and that's where the issues begin. But not do they just start, they don't begin to end either, as that bomb ticks on down. And Wind and Rain have no way onto that site. The only thing you can hope for at this point is either they get an early pick, they make it a 3v3, or they contemplate saving. They have got the Molly on Link. If he can use that to try and force a player out of position, that can give them that 3v3. But the utility has to be played appropriately. Astro has to be able to make something work with his orb. Aussie finding that kill, make it to 2. It's just complete disaster. Finishes it off with all 3. Vexed. Match point, and like I said, Wind and Rain with nothing left to fight for. They're going to have a player with a rifle. Fry could go for a FAMAS if he wants to, but I wouldn't be surprised if he just opts for an SMG here, just trying to get a little bit of utility. But no, goes for the FAMAS anyway, just just to go for the smoke and flash. Doesn't want anything more than that. But even then, this is tough. I mean, it's a real kind of botch job buy for Wind and Rain.
Yeah, Dancy's with the AWP, obviously the main firepower in this round number 30. We have
and
to
the game,
point
in fairness.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I think if you want someone to try and make a play for Wind and Rain, it would be him on that AWP. He's not gone overly aggressive. He's just holding towards Banana for the time being. In the meantime, though, that was in towards Apps. I think it was a wallbang early on from Truth. He gets that opening. That is devastating for Cray. He was trying to get up close with the CZ. However, he gets caught out early on. And now Wind and Rain might have to think twice about what they want their setup to look like, because their A-hole does currently look very, very weak. Just 2 players there. Fry does have the FAMAS. No, the FAMAS is towards B, so it's 2 CZs holding off A right now, and that's where Vexed are currently grouping up.
Waiting ever so patiently, Link will be holding this crossfire towards long, trying to see if they can kind of catch them, as they always tend to wrap on around through this same angle. It looks like Vexed will be going for that play, so they will be given their chance. Wind and Rain going to be tested. The right idea, but the execution so far not so good. Damage to be done, but Astro pulls through with 2 in the end. Pickles just not turning around. The same goes for Truth. And from there, we're at 3 versus 2. 24 seconds left on the clock. Vex have got to go fast. They're pushing right into Fry. He knows they're there. He's seen them. That face, value, vanity to take him down. Dancy's towards the back of the site, missing the shot with the AWP. Aussie to find the kill. It's a 1v1. 17 HP on Vanity. 7 seconds on the clock. Vanity needs to plant Astro. Just as baited into the peak. Vanity! Are you kidding me? Gets the final kill and secures the win for Vex. Astro cannot get the overtime he was looking for.
Just balls of steel to fake plant. It's round 30. You've got like 5 seconds left. Yeah, I'm just going to fake plant and kill him.
That is incredible, though. I mean, he had no time to plant after that. What a play. Vanity, you